So we've done 5 raids today. We have 100% survival rate. We have 28 KD. And we're level 6. Every day is a good day, and I hope you enjoy the show. Greetings! This series is designed for new players to get into Tarkov and hopefully help anybody end up playing the game. I highly recommend following along through this, as I'm going to be starting and explaining everything as I go, and you can just follow along and do similar stuff to me. One of the first things that I do here on Launcher is open up Change Region. And what I want to do is basically select anything that's under 100 ping. My ping's a little higher right now because I'm also uploading videos at the same time. But I usually go for all US servers, Colombia, and the Middle East sometimes. These higher ping servers like Colombia, Middle East can sometimes be what we call dead servers. A lot of your streamers out here won't tell you about this, but they'll go to these servers in order to find less players and just basically loot the entire lobby without any issues. But I usually play on all US servers and just have these clicked just for fun in case I get 1 or 2 of them. The next thing that I want to do is teach you guys how to clear your cache, your logs, and all that kind of jazz. If you ever encounter a bug, say you have a move error or a loading error or any sort of problems, just exit out of Tarkov, Alt F4 out of it, hit clear cache, go to logs here, delete all your logs, and then go up here to online, go to launcher settings, and then hit clean temp folder. This will solve 90% of bugs in Tarkov, and you'd be surprised how often it'll make your game just run a little bit smoother. The next thing that I want to do is right click on, actually I can do it from the launcher. Let me go back here real quick. Next thing I want to do is go to launcher settings, and then I want to go down here to the temp folder button. This should pop up, and we go backwards to the launcher here and right click, hit properties on this. Go to compatibility and hit disable full screen optimizations. This creates a lot less bugs that happens with your borderless full screen that we'll be using. Also, one of the things that you can do is go down here to your sound settings, and in your sound settings, try to find this box. However you got to get here is however you got to get here. For a lot of people, they will have this enhancement called loudness equalization. This helps out quite a bit as well. I recommend putting that on your headphones if you have access to it. Some people won't have access to it. For example, I don't have enhancements on this, but that's just because of how my setup is set up. Now that we've done all of that, we want to start setting up our game profile. So we're going to go in here and hit play. Once we're here, we'll select our language. I'm going to just name myself Brimthen this time. I always go USEC. There's really no big difference. You just get different starting guns and equipment and stuff. I like USEC because their stuff is more expensive, and if I decide to sell it all, then that's what I'll go for. I personally go for Josh because I like his voice, and I always go for Hudson because I like his face. That's just me. That's all preference, really. Now that we're here, I will take basically everything out of my character and just shove it into my stash, just like you see here, including the bayonet. And then I will stack my backpacks on top of each other and put them at the bottom right-hand corner of my inventory. That is usually how I get started with things. And I'll leave it kind of like this. Honestly, what I'll do is I'll go ahead and auto-sort it and then put the backpacks down to the bottom. And that basically puts it like this. Then what I will do is I will sit here and unload every single one of these ammunitions. Magazine. Now that I've unloaded all of those magazines, I'm going to move my Edge of Darkness hatchet over to my sheath spot. I'm then going to go to the Escape from Tarkov website, log in, and I'm going to see if there is a Christmas thing here. Sometimes they'll send you a free kit or some free goodies. You just got to hit this little attachment button here, and you'll hear it pops up inside my inventory. Then I'll hit receive all, and I got a few cool little items here. The gun that they gave me this round is semi-decent, and I may actually end up using it. It's kind of got okay ammunition. After receiving my reward there, I will go over here and basically sell anything I don't plan on using. So one thing I don't plan on using is a lot of the pistols and SMGs that they gave me. Now, it's up to you. If you want to use them, you can. I personally never end up using any of the items that you're about to see me sell, so I just go ahead and sell it. The rubles are worth more to me than really anything else. Now, I will use the ammunition that they gave me for it usually. Because I do run 9mm, but I just don't really like the MP5, and I don't really like these pistols, and I just don't use this stuff. So I would rather have the almost 200k for it. Same thing with these backpacks that I'm about to sell. I don't like these backpacks in particular, and the reason why is that they are segmented. So if I get somebody's like really cool gun, I can't really stick it inside. Especially with this backpack, you can't even put but certain armors in it. You know, I can put like that armor, but like somebody has a good chest rig that I would want, I can't even put that in there. So I don't like these backpacks. I usually stick to, you know, these day pack size backpacks because you can actually fit a lot of cool items in them. And that's what I prefer to use for the most part. Now, I pretty well keep my helmets. I pretty well keep my armors because those things are pretty useful to have. These P.A.C.As aren't bad for doing some like trash runs if you wanted to hang on to those. I don't keep the blue helmets, but I do keep these helmets. What you want to look for is grade 4. So these have grade 4. I prefer grade 4 that protects your ears. I would usually sell these late wipe because I will take ear protection over no ear protection, for example. But I'll be selling these Untars because they are only grade 3. Even though I plan on using grade 3 at some point in the wipe. But that's besides the point. I usually sell my headsets because they just take up too much room, and I usually will get some later that are a bit cheaper and easier to run with. I sell these items here because they have pretty much no value mechanically to me. It's up to you to keep these. If you're running the SMGs, I would run these. You know, if you're running like throwaway kits, these are good to have. And I may end up running them myself later, but I'll just buy them later. It's not that big a deal. I'd rather have the cash for right now. This chest rig is trash, but these chest rigs are good. So I'll hang on to those. One of the next things I'm going to do is I'm going to go to each of my traders and kind of see what they sell. And then I'm going to sell the items that they sell back to them. Because at any time I want, I can come here and buy those items. So like, you know, these AI2s. I can buy as many of these as I want to. So I can let them be my storage. Instead of having these 5 slots taken up by them, I can just sell these and then buy them back from them later. Sure, I'm paying double. You know, I'm paying double for it basically when I could have just kept it. But the storage, I can put more important items inside my stash. So for example, if I get more CMS kits, this is more room for CMS kits. This is more room for loot and items and things that I can sell properly to them. So here's the items that I usually will sell to them because I'm going to use these ALU splints. I'll probably keep these S-marks because I carry them on me in my pockets usually. But I have most of my meds taken care of in raid like this. think I'll keep the balm actually, and I'll end up using it. I'll keep my food because food's going to be important, but I'm going to sell the liquor. If I plan on doing hideout, I will keep these until my hideout, but for the most part, they're just taking up room, and I can use the rubles. So, sell condensed milk, it's trash, sell this, and then keep the normal milk and put it with the food. That is what I'm selling to therapists. Now I'm going to auto sort again. I'm going to move my backpack back down to the bottom, and let's take a look at what else we can sell real quick here. So, Fence buys knives, so we'll sell the knife to him. And last but not least, are nades. Because I don't plan on really using nades. Other people like nades, but rarely do I rely on nades to get kills for me. I usually use them when I have a quest for it, or if I'm like heavy geared and such. And usually I don't have good moments for it. Now, more professional players, they're going to carry nades with them and throw nades all the time. But I would rather just get a better angle and reposition. It's just better for me that way. You can use them if you want to. Next up is selling ammunition I don't plan on using. So the 7mm buck is pretty trash. Really, this isn't very good pistol ammo, but I'm going to hang on to it in case I use 9mm. And that's about it for the pistol side of things. These all look good. These are all guns I want to keep. All of our meds situated. So that's pretty much our inventory. I'm going to sort it one more time. And this is basically what we're keeping out of that. And as you can see, we have 1.2 mil. And what I can do is I could go over here and buy from therapists a junk box, as it is going to help me collect. It's going to help me collect hideout items, quest items, and just storing bulk items in it, because it has 100 slots and it only takes up 16 spots. Now we're going to talk about something just a little bit different here. We want to go down to the bottom left hand corner and hit the search button and find Calibrate Display Capture. Now what this is going to do is bring up this page here. And what we want to do is use our monitor, the physical buttons on our monitor screen, to adjust so that this looks good. You want to start by setting to default as much stuff as you possibly can. So for example, I have Nvidia settings here, and I want to go to Nvidia settings and set them to default as well. I want to get as much things default as we possibly can. So I would revert these settings back to default, maybe even hit this button up here at the top. And then I would go through this and just follow the instructions as closely as I possibly can. This is all optical illusions. It's something that you will have to do with your own monitor, your own monitor's settings, and then get this as close as you can to having your monitor calibrated. And then after calibrating your monitor, I recommend kind of doing like these settings on your Nvidia settings. Sometimes I even go a little low here and a little up here based on what map I'm playing and such. But I fiddle with these to make my settings look as nice as possible. And then I will go to Tarkov. Once you feel like you have your monitor calibrated correctly and looking pretty decently, we can go on and do our settings here. I recommend having always shown across the board here with polychrome, as well as disabled on the double click item use. This will screw you up so many times in a heartbeat. I like to set this to auto. The medium obstacles, I'll let it kind of do it itself. I use only physical cores, automatic RAM cleaner. Here at FOV, people are going to want to go to 75. They're used to 90 or even 120 on some other FPS games. But Tarkov, you want to see further in the distance, so you want to kind of lower FOV. If you're on a 1080p monitor, I recommend being somewhere around 60, maybe 63. A lot of your pro gamers will use like the 63 on here. I'm at about a 69 is what I go for, because it's a funny number, and I don't really care what my FOV is. The higher you go, the more sides you get. But in Tarkov, you can free look your head left and right, so it's better to have a more zoomed in center, so that you can see people from further away, basically. Here on these settings, I like to go borderless. This helps out a lot. You can even tab and go look at a map or something. With the LODs, some people are going to tell you to go 2 and 400. You will not see people at certain distances if you do this. I recommend 1500 and about 2.5. A higher end PC can do 2003. This will be good for woods and lighthouse and further distance maps, but I like a middle ground at about 2.5 and 1500 for me. I pretty well do that distance usually anyway. I like high quality color and grass shadows. Everything else is set kind of low in the bottom down here because most of these don't make a big difference on how things look. The biggest things to have your like texture qualities high so that your guns look good. And then shadows, I set it to high instead of ultra because the difference between it is not much and it just adds extra stress onto your computer. You can go lower if you have a lower end PC, but this is where you want to adjust a lower end PC. The rest of these are pretty much as low as you can go for the most part. And what I would recommend for a low end PC or a high end PC, because most of these don't make any difference. Next up, we're going to go to post effects. This is what I like to do if you have your kind of golden ratio with your display being calibrated correctly, as well as your Nvidia settings set up similar to mine. What this does is it brings a little bit more brightness in from here, and then it takes away some of that brightness with Chill Wave. Chill Wave adds black, it adds contrast, so you can add more contrast here. And what I do with post effects is fine tuning. I let my Nvidia settings and my monitor's display capture calibration stuff be the main focus. This is where the majority of my sight comes from. This is mostly to fine tune those settings. Luma Sharpen, Adaptive Sharpen, and Clarity is going to remove the blur on your game. And these settings can really be set to anything you really want. I do 42, 42, 42 because it's not a big difference as you slide them around. I really wouldn't go past that much, and I wouldn't really go lower than that much. So 42 is pretty bit where I would like it at. I don't like the high saturation, the high color. I like my game to look normal and not like Fortnite. On to sounds, interface can be loud and you can miss some of the footsteps and slight sounds that are around. I like to set my interface as low as I can. I turn the music off. Hideout is very loud. I like to set it low as well. Chat is so that I can hear the players voiping to me from further away. Overall should always be 100. Adjust your volume literally anywhere else, because when a helmet, for example, you got these helmets that take face shields, they lower your overall volume by 20%. So if you have yours at 70 and they lower yours to 50, you ain't going to be able to hear anything. 100 is the best you can put to have the highest clarity in the game. If this is too loud for you, adjust your headset's volume or adjust it anywhere else but in-game. Music on Unheard, obviously I don't use it. Binaural audio is overpowered. It's always been good. Anybody that tells you otherwise is just silly. Ignore them. Binaural audio has saved me so many times, period. Next up is controls. Now, I have what is probably the best, like, hotkeys in the game, period. Now, all of these are found on my Discord if you want to go through them and look. I have a 12-button mouse. So on the side of my mouse, I have basically hotkeyed a few of these. So for example, switch between sights and change magnifying scope is actually 10 and 11 on my numpad that's on the side of my mouse. Those that are set over here that look funny like that are most likely for that. My comma and my period are legitimately where they are, and you can kind of go through, and if you join the Discord, you can see every single setting that we've talked about today in this video, as well as my hotkeys. Now, the sensitivity while aiming at 0.16 and the mouse sensitivity at 0.52, as well as 500 DPI on my mouse, is what basically gives you the Willer Z's aim. It's what makes it smooth and you can track heads easily. This settings right here will improve your aim 100%, especially if it's at 500 DPI. Now that we have organized our inventory and gotten our settings all taken care of, we are going to take this sight that we got for free. We're going to stick it on one of these MDRs. Now what you'll see is yellow means I'm putting it into a container. Green means it is able to be equipped to the gun. One of the things that you can also do is press the Alt key and then left click to equip it to your character faster. Same thing with armor and helmets. If you want to put something into your backpack, for example, let's say I wanted to put this commando rig here, you can do Control left click. Now, Control left click always puts something into your backpack. It won't equip it to your character. Alt left click is how you equip it to your character quickly. that was a tongue twister. Anyway, next thing we want to do is right click on a magazine, hit load ammo, and hit M855. Do that a couple of times. Stick that inside of our gun, and then we want a bullet to go into the chamber, so we're going to drag a bullet over and put it into our gun. Now we're going to put some magazines by control left clicking into our AVS. Magazines and such will go automatically into your chest rig, whereas other items will go into your backpack. Next up, we want to fill our gamma case up. I'm going to put a CMS in here. I'm going to put an AFAC in here. I'm going to put a Vaseline, a ALU splint. I'm going to put that dog tag case that I bought earlier. You don't have to have that one. It's completely okay not to have that one. And we want to put a K-Lock B in here. Next thing I want to do is put a couple of stacks of extra ammo. And basically, we have a heavy bleed remover. We have a fracture remover. We have a painkiller. We have an AFAC for general healing and light bleeds. Light bleed doesn't take up as much HP from it, whereas a heavy bleed takes up a lot. We want to use our K-Lock B to remove the heavy bleeds so that we don't cause durability so much on the AFAC. We don't mind 30, obviously, so light bleeds get removed with this. That's why you don't see me bringing a bandage. We bring CMSs to remove blacked out limbs in case we get a blacked out limb. So we have armor, we have a helmet, we have a gun, we have a sight on our gun, we have magazines, and we have a backpack. Let's go practice. What we want to do to go practice is we want to go to factory, we want to hit next, we want to enable practice mode for this raid, we want to go to game settings. If we have a friend, we'll go co-op mode. If we don't have a friend, we'll go with high AI amounts, and we'll go AI difficulty easy, because all we're here is to practice. If you enable scav war, the scavs will fight each other. If you enable tagged and curse, they will know where you are, and they will be headed to you. You can also do random weather, random time, but I don't really care. Now that we're in a raid, we want to practice our hotkeys and make sure everything is kind of working. So when we right-click, it's continuous because you can get a toggle mode for that. When we run, it should be continuous instead of toggled. Tab to open up our inventory. We want to be able to lean with Q and E. We want to be able to incrementally lean by basically holding control and then pressing E to do fine movements. So for example, if I was going to be here, I could lean, but then I would have to hold E the whole time, and it becomes this kind of mess. But if I want it to incrementally peak just enough to get there, that's how I would do that. Same thing with C. If we hold C and then mouse wheel down, you can see our character can basically pick the exact pixel he wants to be on while crouching, for example. So that is how I do my incremental peaking and holding it. And it will hold it there while walking. If I hit Control E, it'll hold it there while walking, so I don't have to press the button. And then I reset my lean just by tapping E type deal. So that's how you do all of that. You want to be able to free look with the middle mouse wheel. That would be superior. Now, all these other settings that I'm about to talk about is universal to me. When I press comma, I want it to check my magazine. When I press period, or double tap period, I want it to check the chamber. When I press L, I want it to inspect. And the reason why those buttons are so far away is because they're not being used in combat. So sprint, leaning, peeking, all this is to be used while in combat. And then once combat is over and I am ready to kind of hide away, then I can check my chambers. I can do all these buttons that I wouldn't ever use inside of combat. Now, same thing with a jam. Right now my gun's not jammed, so I can't really show this, but pretend my gun is jammed. I would press L, and that would inspect my gun, and then I would double tap L, and it would clear the jam, so to speak. And I have that set up so that I can do it quickly in a raid. And what happens in a match, say there's somebody here fighting me, what I will do is I will get a jam, and then I'll just kind of like hide for a second, and during that time, I'm not going to be moving around. So I'm going to be clearing my jam out. And if I am moving, sometimes I'll move my right hand over to do it while moving. So at least one of my hands aren't going to be on my keyboard during that time. Now, one of the things you want to focus on is having your aim at the center of your screen at all times. So one of the things I see a lot of new players doing is they'll be looking out at the ground like this. and then when they aim, they have to come up. And that's a lot of work when you could have already had your middle of your screen here at the center. So while I'm walking through here, my aim is up and at the center, right? That way I can just quickly get a headshot like I just did. It's not down here. I'm not looking down here where there's nothing, right? And that's even while going into a room like we had here. So there could be guys here, there could be guys there, there could be guys there, and my center of my screen is right where their head might be. So I can quickly look there, I can quickly look there, I can quickly look there, I can quickly look down there. My aim isn't down here at the ground, and then I'm like seeing if somebody's there and then aiming. See, that's a whole lot of work to go from the ground and then up. So that's one of the things we want to avoid doing. Now, in a lot of other games, say in Siege, for example, you will see people who are walking and aiming at the same time. And this is good to do in this game, but only while moving consistently. So I would go ahead and have my lean ready to go like so, and then I would have it ready to like peek out of a corner. However, I wouldn't go down this, I wouldn't go down here doing it like this. What I would do when walking down a straightaway like that is I would have my gun ready to go there because ADSing is pretty quick. And what I would do is if somebody popped out on the right, I would go ahead and start shooting and then ADS like that. Because one of the things that this game has is called point fire. It means that you are accurately to the center of your screen point fire. Kind of like CSGO if you've ever played it before. You don't have Rainbow Six Siege's weird hip fire cone that exists, so to speak. It's a actually point firing to the center of your screen there. So I consistently will land headshots purely because of where the center of my screen is set. Now, another thing about this is I make sure that I have the shot before I shoot, and then I kind of get away. I don't like stick to it. I don't really hold. I stay kind of loose. You see what I mean? Like I'm checking spots, moving. I don't stay in one spot in case I get shot at. I could get shot at from behind, get shot at in multiple different ways. And like I'm using the cover that I have, the physical cover, to try to get little peeks and views of areas. I have more guides on YouTube about setting up. These are all a little bit older, but they are still viable. For example, everything you need to know about aim will just go into much more detailed information about aiming, as well as some homework for you to do, some different builds that you can do at level 1 to practice an offline. And then I also have like some quest guides on how to get some money, as well as a scav run and such. And what I want you to do is get really comfortable with your aim in offline mode, and then you will go to scavving. And you want to scav a map like Interchange, and you want to go to a website called mapgenie.io. Mapgenie.io is a great place for you to learn any of the maps, really. You can hit hide all on the left side, and then do weapon box, do duffel bag, do crate, do grenade, and do valuable and weapon mod. And then basically just go to the basement here and look for each one of these green dots. You can do this on an offline raid to practice doing it, but go to literally every single one of these green dots and check out the items that are there. And then if you can loot every single green dot that you see here, you will end up making tons of money. I run around 800K when selling to the flea, or about 450K when selling to traders. If you learn this, it has a high survival rate. It's got tons of money, and it's super easy for a new player to do. There are people that's going to tell you to go to Lighthouse. There's people that's going to tell you to go to Lab, Shoreline, Customs, and those are a lot harder scavs to run. This is a higher survival rate, lower return that almost nobody does, and you won't have any competition for it. So go practice these things. Enjoy your wipe. Always go to these green dots and select them and accept any of your quests that you have. Use the maps to look up how to do this. There's wikis about how to do each one of these, and just kind of go through and do what quests you would like to do. And for the most part, I highly recommend following these 13 tips that I have created for anybody to learn Tarkov. with. Sell anything a trader has to sell. You can basically make your rubles your storage. So like I was saying about those cheeses, you know, you can sell armors and stuff that they sell and then buy them back from them later as you need them. Your storage should be mainly armor, ammo, meds, and food. Items that you can't really find very often, rare items, should also be your quest items, your hideout items, and that kind of stuff. Only quest to level 15 or to level 40 and get your item unlocks. Level 40 lets you get max traders. Level 15 lets you open up the flea. Something that I do a lot of wipes is just get to level 15 and then I stop questing. I just buy everything from the flea and enjoy the game. Focus on only one map at a time. Highly recommend interchange. Full auto is currently king with the World Recall update, and this is the truth. You can do some nasty stuff with full auto right now. Never quest the second half of wipe. The whole thing about this game is you will be questing quite a bit, and your goal with questing is just to get to where you PvP. And if you quest the entire wipe, it feels like more of a chore. End up going for PvP the second half of your wipe and going through your stash and all the things that you've collected. Don't have gear fear second half of wipe. Just lose it all and have fun and learn the game. Next wipe, you can always do better and do different things. There's always next wipe. All ammo kills, consistency is key. This is true. I have taken down some of the highest kitted players in the world with some of the most trash crap ammo on the planet. It is landing those headshots. However, consistency is key with ammunition. For example, Magnum Buckshot is going to be better than all of your slugs and all other ammunition for the 12 gauge. Magnum Buck is just consistently going to get you more kills constantly. Aim for the throat, head, eyes, armpit. You want to aim for that throat. Your recoil will get you up to head, eyes, and you will get more kills if you start aiming for people's throat. Center the screen to head height. Always be ready to shoot. Always be ready to locate. Stay loose, stiffening up, and kills, like I said earlier, with how to aim and shoot better. And join my Discord. There's a bunch of cool people inside my Discord. There's a link inside my bio. You can Google Brimthen. There's a whole bunch of different ways to get to the Discord. Just look for them. Go to my Kick, and you can get a link there as well. And we have a whole bunch of cool resources. We have a teaching area, places to look for groups. We have a looking for group area that is very consistently full of people that are looking for more people to play with. We have these really cool channels and roles dedicated to Sherpas. So you can add a Sherpa, you can looking for group to find more people, people to find keys, labs, partners, offline raids, quests, or just Tarkov in general. Like, there's a bunch of different ways to meet people and get involved in the community. That is the most fun thing. Playing Tarkov with friends is hilariously fun. I don't recommend playing with teams of 4s and 5s. It gets kind of hectic. It gets kind of hard to play with 5 people. But duos and trios is hilariously fun. Go find you a duo partner. Go find you a trio partner. It is easy in my Discord. Greetings! If you enjoyed this content, consider supporting me over on Kick. I stream 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, and Wednesdays. We also have an amazing Discord full of people that are looking for groups. Get out of solo queue hell. We have teammates, we have Sherpas, we have just some cool friends that you can meet on our Discord.